All right. Hey, crew. Welcome back to the 5th episode of Free to Grow. Today, we're going to talk about how to make friends 101. Before we dive into the episode, I did want to say huge congrats to me and to you guys because we've been doing this journey for a month now, which is a very long time. And yeah, pretty crazy stuff. And so today's episode is going to obviously be about, it's obviously going to be about how to make friends, but I'm also going to share some personal struggles that I've had when it came to making friends, such as my kindergarten bully, who was this 5-year-old angel of a girl who had this side that was not very nice to me. But anyways, we'll get into that later. A bit of a hook, if you shall. So yeah, I felt like I wanted to make this episode because working with my podcast, I'm trying to keep a good balance of like keeping it silly and like talking about normal topics that everyone would just want to hear about or fall asleep to, but also a good mix about some more deeper topics. So that's why we're talking about how to make friends, because I feel like it's like right in the middle. And episode 4, we were talking about some challenges that come with moving away. So we kind of talked about like losing friends a bit, kind of. And so now we're going to talk about how to gain friends. Oh yeah, because that's what life is all about. So first, we got to ask ourselves why. Why do we even want to have friends? And I know this question might seem obvious, but I think it's very important that everyone ask themselves this question, because I think every single person is trying to get something different out of their friendships based on what type of person they are, their interests, and what kind of person they want their friend to be. But looking at it from a more broader perspective and kind of social / scientific perspective, friends are great. Friends make us feel included in activities. They give us a place to outlet our stress, our emotions, people to count on in times of crisis, which can really help lower certain levels of stress, which is just always a good time. So the point is, friends are great. Have friends. Anyways, before, I'm not necessarily gonna list out a bajillion ways of how to make friends, because I think that's like useless. But I think a better question that everyone can ask themselves is, what kind of friend do you want to be to others? And I think if you start there, you will quickly learn what kind of friends you want. So, starting from my own personal experience, it took me a very long time to figure out what kind of friend I wanted to be for others, because I had lots of trouble knowing my role with other people, because of just like the way I was brought up. But for me, like friendships and like all kinds of relationships were kind of just like more transactional and just doing stuff for each other, um, which can be a good thing or a bad thing. But essentially, it was hard for me to figure out at the beginning. But I'd say now, I want to be the kind of friend that like will pick up the phone if you need to talk to someone. I want to be the friend that like you also know, you like the friend that you can go out and have like a good time with and be silly, goofy, or whatever, and the friend you can count on when it's not silly and goofy. Um, oh, and third, a friend that like you can be super weird with. Not in any like weird way or anything, but I love being weird with my friends, just like spamming brain rot or memes and stuff. It's like the funnest thing on the planet. Highly recommend. Um, it's so fun, and that is honestly one of my biggest, like most basic indicators of like when I meet someone. If we like hit it off kind of, and we're just like spamming memes or like doing some weird dance, I'm like, all right, banger. This is a banger. But anyways, to help you in this process, and I'm also still going through this process, but to help you through this process, I'd like you to envision yourself, maybe not the person you are now, maybe, and it can be, but any version of yourself that you would like, past, future, present, that you like the most, or let's say you're the most comfortable with right now. Imagine that version of yourself as a movie character. And I think it's very clear what type of person you would be if you analyze yourself as a person in a cast. Would you be like the main friend, or would you be like, what kind of role? Like, psychoanalyze yourself from that perspective. How do the other characters in this movie kind of view yourself? How, in what situations would that version of yourself be kind of pushed into the spotlight, whether that be like attention or just like showing up for other people? And in what ways would that friend, like, what would make that friend angry? What would make that friend like just pissed off, not having it, kind of boundary kind of thing? And that's where you got to start. That's exactly where you got to start. I know it sounds stupid, but just trust me, analyze it, and there you go. Even better, if you take your current version of yourself and, yeah, that's the word I was looking for, stereotype. Kind of like stereotype yourself into a movie character. Just take all your features and characteristics and blast them 100%. What does that look like? And are you satisfied with that person? Is that the kind of person who like flakes on their friend all the time? Person who's maybe not nice to their friend all the time? And what kind of like progression does that character need to go through? So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of how I envision it. And side note, I envision it that way a lot. And that's why when I look at people who are kind of just like mean, but like, I mean like more like adults. When I look at like adults that are mean or just doing something that's just like so like mean, but it's just like, it's so basic, like it's not even like mean in like a creative way. It's just so basic. I wonder what they're thinking when they watch like something on TV and it's like their character, and usually their character is like the bad guy or like the mean teacher, mean parent or whatever, kind of thing. I always wonder what they think about when they watch those scenes. Because it's kind of like, bro, it's kind of right in front of you, So look at it from that perspective and maybe it helps you. So, using myself as an example, if I know I want to be the friend who can show up for other people and a person that can be actually, let's start with weird. If I know I want to be a friend that can be weird with other people, then maybe, not all the time, but maybe being friends with someone who hates being weird and like shames people who like spam memes and brain rot, like, then maybe that isn't the best friend for me. And note I said best friend. I'll get to that later. Just note that I said best friend, not the friend. So that's who I can kind of start to be like, maybe I don't want to like allocate my time in this manner. Or like maybe I don't want to hang out with this type of person because they're not my type of friend. And that's okay. And I think it's very important to differentiate between like not being the same like friend type or like compatible friendship or whatever from bullying someone. Like it's okay to say, hey, me and this person, they're fine or whatever. We're maybe just not the most compatible. And that's okay. You're not gonna bully them for that. They don't have to bully you. It's just, it is what it is. It's fine. There's lots of good people who have very many different types of personality types, and not all of them will get along. In fact, most of them will not get along, just not like click, which is okay. So yeah, so I know people who don't like being weird at all, or won't even, or kind of like shame me for being weird. That's not necessarily my crowd, because I do that a lot. I definitely do have some friends that are like that. They're not a part of my close friend group circle, but I do have friends like that. And that's something I know. And that's okay. They're fine people. Um, I know I'm also a friend that likes to have lots of emotional connection. Me and my friends are very tight. Um, like I've had a lot of good conversations with all of them about their hopes and dreams and all that kind of stuff, or just about what they're going through in the moment. And sometimes the conversations can come off very deep, and sometimes they're like very subtle that we just like hard to explain. Never mind. Um, but I know that when it comes to my core friend group, I like people that would be chill with like if it's like late at night and we sit back, start like just like talking, and that's fine. We don't gotta lure dump our entire life. That's what this podcast is for. But we can chill, and I can hear about their days and like how they're feeling and all that kind of stuff. So a person who's like extremely closed off, and that's fine. That's fine. I'm not calling them a bad person or anything, but a person that's extremely closed off, maybe we're just not the most compatible when it comes to being close friends. Um, and that is how I kind of decided like who I kind of want my close friends to be. Um, and another wait, what was my last thing? I don't even remember. I'm just yapping. Who knows, man? Who knows? Anyways, moving on. A really, really, really good way to find friends that you will like and enjoy spending time with is by spending more time in the hobbies that you enjoy. For example, I really enjoy MLUN, camping, and let's say it's one of my main hobbies, but actually yeah, sure. Yeah, different one. I like MLUN, camping, and singing, acting, and dancing, musicals, all that jazz. Right? So I started going to camp every year. I started liking it more and more and more, and I built a community there. And now I have a lot of friends there who I love very much, and I don't get to see too often, but they're great people. They're great people who are just overall. Oh, what in the world? There's like a giant ass like duck like emu looking at bird on the highway. Yo, what? That's what was causing the traffic. It's just like a giant ass bird on the road. Oh my god, that was weird as hell. I can't believe. Holy shit. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Ooh. Car almost just got into a car accident. Anyways, forget about that. Getting back on topic. Follow your interests. So I went to camping. I went to this camp called Camp Candelore. It's amazing. I built a community there. And I found people that I really enjoy spending my time with. In truth, though, I do have a lot of friends from Camp Candelore that are amazing. I love them so much, and they're amazing to see in that setting. They're amazing to see at camp. We don't see each other that much in the city because, in full honesty, some of them I'm not actually like the 100% most compatible friends with them, which is fine. Um, but in the camp setting, we like click, and it feels like we're siblings, and it's amazing. Same with Mall UN. Mall UN, I have a group of friends who are amazing, and they're very different, to be completely honest, from a lot of my other friends. They're a bit more like debatey and amazing and smart and everything. Um, so those are an amazing group of friends that I cherish so much, and they teach me so much. And they're great in that setting. Same with the musical. There are a lot of people who, especially people in the musical, that I could just be like 100% my weird brain rot self with, and they would also do that too, and it was so fun, and they were amazing friends to be with in that setting. And so the point I'm trying to get at is you don't have to have one type of friend. You don't have to have like one type of friends. You can have different types of friends. You're allowed. And I feel that's something that maybe it's just me that perceived it that way, but I feel that's something that is like an unspoken rule, kind of, that you have to just like find your way into one clique and just be there. And I do feel that you will definitely feel that pressure if you're getting all of your friends from one place, namely a school or work. If all of your friends are coming from one environment, then yes, to be honest, it is kind of hard to have friends from different social circles or different personality types because then, some like stupid drama about like, someone not liking this person, or if you're at that place at the same time, let's say school, if you're at school, let's say at the same time, then maybe they'll be like, oh, why are you hanging out with them and not us, kind of whole thing, which is a conversation for a different time. But it can sometimes get messy. And so my biggest advice is have friends from different, like, social bubbles, kind of. And so thinking from my own perspective, going to university in like less than a week, I think like next week I will be in university. Next episode, actually, I will be in university, which is pretty cool. Thinking from that perspective, I know it's thinking far, but thinking from that perspective, I want to have a couple friends from volleyball intramurals that I want to start. I want to have a couple friends that like I study with, that can have like my study group kind of thing, and then maybe a couple friends that like live on my floor and like my roommate and all that kind of stuff. A couple friends from LUN that I want to keep doing, and then random friends I'll pick up along the way, kind of thing. And I'm sure that these groups will mingle and intertwine and all that kind of stuff. That's fine. That's great if they do. But you don't need to put all like your, what's that saying? Breads in one basket? Eggs in one basket. You don't need to put all your eggs in one basket. You are 100% allowed to have friends that do not know each other and that are very different from each other. You're allowed to do that. I would highly recommend it. You will get a wide array of people to hang out with. And that's really good because sometimes you want to chill and you can hit up a person that's more chill, that would like maybe not get along with a different friend that you have, which is like the party yippee yippee person. And that's okay. That's okay. Because although finding friends is definitely an important process, especially if you're going to be in one place for a long time, you don't have to make it so hard on yourself. And you don't have to like find the perfect friend that you're like, oh my gosh, we're like twins. Or like we're best friends. And it's amazing if you do. It's amazing if you do. Lovely. But it doesn't have to be one person that is your twin. You can have 4 different friends from 4 different social groups that don't even know each other and maybe wouldn't click if they did know each other. But hey, now you got 4 times the amount of people to hang out with. So there you go. And so yeah, that would be my biggest advice. My biggest advice would be yourself, know what kind of friend you want to be for other people, and then be yourself, know what friend you want to be for other people, and then follow your interests and have a lot of interests. Follow your interests and have friends that are spread across the map. And definitely, the last one is definitely my biggest point of advice. Have friends from different social circles. It will change your life. It's like moving from like a small town to New York City. That's like the equivalent. It's a great time. And now, obviously, the second chapter would be like, okay, once you know what kind of friend you want to be for others, and let's say you even know a person and you're like, hey, I kind of want to be friends with that person. Side note, that's a really fun time. Like, when you meet someone and you're like, wow, this person's kind of really cool. I kind of want to be friends with them. That's always a great time. And just put yourself out there, honestly. I know that's like so corny and like probably the least helpful advice of all time, but it's so true. People want friends. Okay, people want friends. Even the people who have resting mean faces, or the people who like might be grumpy that day. People want friends. All humans want friends. If they say they don't, then they're capping, and maybe check up on them. So put yourself out there, and if the friendship didn't work out, it didn't work out. Hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And then you move on. And my one last thing would definitely be, especially for those of you that are moving to university in a week or two like me, try not to get so bogged down on one person. I really mean that. I feel like sometimes people get into a new space, they find a friend that they really like on the first day, and then it feels like you're like glued to them forever, you know? And that's never really that fun. It's never as fun as it really seems. It gets to like a couple days or like a week, and you're like, all right, I need some personal space. Especially if this friend likes to talk behind other people's backs about like maybe your other friends, or they're just not compatible with your other friends from other social groups. That's maybe not the person you want to be the closest of friends with, because it's okay to have friends from different social bubbles. Not all of your friends need to be friends with each other and all have to go to one giant sleepover. It would be amazing if they do. My advice in like a dream world would be have a core friend group that like you enjoy and have no like big qualms with. But then at the same time, have a bunch of friends outside of this friend group. And maybe not a bunch, even one or two is fine, that are completely different from your friend group. Say you were exposed to a variety of different types of people. And so that is how you make friends. I definitely could have been a lot more specific, but at the same time, not really, because it's such a big topic that it's like, there's like so much to talk about, and then you start talking about it, and you're like, oh. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm arriving at volleyball now. Thanks for coming along the ride with me. It was a great time. Yeah. I am so happy I've had the beautiful opportunity to chat with all of you guys for the last month. In all honesty, I knew, but like I didn't fully know that I was going to, what's it called? Do this for like a month. Like I've been doing this for a month. I've been a podcast creator for a month. And in all honesty, it hasn't really changed my life. From my perspective, like it's not like anything has really changed. Like a lot of people have come up to me and been like, "Hey man, I really like your podcast," and I've been so appreciative of every single person who has said that. It's really meant the world to me. Um, and it's definitely made me closer with certain people because they've like been like maybe seen a different side of me that they didn't know. But it's not like I'm like making money or anything, or like going like some brand trips or anything. I'm just same old, same old. Wake up, eat, go to work, come back, chill around, watch a show or two. And it's really only like an hour of work every week, maybe, because recording it takes like 30 minutes, and then just publishing it sometimes sometimes takes a while because of how slow YouTube can be sometimes, or Spotify and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I know making friends is very challenging, and you can do it through so many different streams. I'm friends with every single one of you. Every single person listening to this episode or any episode of my podcast, you're automatically my friend. Boo, you're stuck. And so that will bring me all the way back to the beginning. Actually, I don't even know if I said that in the beginning of this take, because I kind of took multiple takes of this because it was not going well. Anyways, I'll bring it back to the beginning where I started off talking about my kindergarten bully. She wasn't really that big of a bully, but she was just stealing my blocks all the time, and that made me a bit of like a timid person and kind of like, I don't know, scared to like play with others sometimes. And that definitely shows in like who I am today, because I've definitely gotten like past 90% of it. But even still, sometimes if you see me in public, you'll kind of see me like dissociate sometimes. Especially at the beginning of a hangout or at the beginning of meeting people. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, because I just don't really know what to do. But once I make that first step, I'm just saying like, hey, it's really, really, really through it. So while you're making friends, remember, everyone else wants a friend too. So just go up to someone, say hi. People love, like, people love when people ask them about themselves. So just go up to someone and say hi. How was your day? What were you up to last night? And like, honestly, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. If someone were to come up to you, like not someone you usually talk to, but let's say someone from your school or something that you don't have any problem with, you just happen to have not talked to them. Um, and they were to come up to you and go like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you probably would just give a generic like, "Oh, good." Maybe it's in passing. But then if they stop and like go off script a little bit and are like, "So, like, what did you get up to last night, or what did you get up to over the weekend?" It's a shocker. And to be completely honest, that doesn't happen that often. And I'm sure you would love it if that happened to you. I'm sure. Maybe you'd be a little scared and anxious, but it's really just that first step of just showing interest in someone and be like, hey, I kind of want to get to know who you are just as a person, nothing like romantic or anything, just as a person, as a friend, and maybe we can be friends. Um, Saying that out loud is a little weird. Maybe don't do that, but just say hi. The point is, say hi. If you didn't listen to a single thing I said in this entire episode, it can all be summarized in go up to someone that you want to be friends with and just say hi. How are you doing? How's your day been going? Start a conversation, and that's it. Let me know if you like this episode. Shoot me a DM. Again, go to the link in my bio on my Instagram. My Instagram is jerome.mbaga, Jerome.mbaga. Yeah, got a brain fart there. Click the link in my bio, and there's a button where you can click for episode ideas. I actually do have 5 episode requests, which I will be getting to. I've just been like dying in terms of packing for uni and stuff, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna roll those out. I might do them in combination with other episodes. Anyways, thanks so much for a month of listening to my podcast. I love you guys so much. You guys are definitely my friends. And I'll see you around. I will see you next Thursday. Bye bye.